The board game industry is throwing an absolute fit about the tariffs, especially because the Chinese ones are so high. It's just absolutely shattered a lot of these people's margins. But High Noon board game designer Dwight Senek actually went out there and says it's their bad business models that make this a problem, because if they're selling this kind of revenue with their games, which Gloomhaven is, their margins shouldn't be so razor thin that it's just going to completely shatter their business like they're saying it is. And so this is kind of interesting to take a look at this right now. They're complaining, and it's very obvious that at least in the Gloomhaven designers spot right here, they're using this to play victim to the media to get themselves some free attention, and they're acting like this is some sort of thing, like where they've been exploiting cheap slave labor overseas for decades to make these giant miniature games like this, where they have so many different plastic components that it's just out of control, rather than just designing mechanics that work well that you don't need that kind of thing for, right? And so that exploitation has led to a lot with the industry right here. That it's been waiting for a reckoning for a long time. There's a lot of bad business practices going on where they use one crowdfund campaign to fund the last one. That's a big thing that happens in board games as well. And we'll get into all of this in just a moment. So please hit the like and subscribe button. We're one of the few channels that actually talks about board gaming and what goes on in the culture here, because it's a big part of the culture. If you don't know, like this Gloomhaven stuff, like these guys are in Target, right? You can go into Target and pick up this game and Barnes & Noble. And so this is corporately distributed. This is giant corporation stuff. They're acting like we're a small business, and it's like, okay, sure. I don't know any small businesses that like really rely off of Chinese slave labor like this. It's mostly the big corporations like this, and this is the thing. It is hitting this entire industry in a big way because of the way that they've just really coasted off of this for years and years and years. And so let's see what this is going on right now and how they're exploiting the media attention from this to try to grow their brand as well. And just how cynical it all is at the end of the day. Now, these are all woke activists, like the Gloomhaven people are from Washington and California, just like most of the board game industry. These guys who run this, the main guy who actually went on the media is listed as he/him on their website. And so I don't particularly feel bad for them whatsoever. And it's good that there's companies out there like the High Noon that actually are fine, and they're going to just weather it until United States operations gets to a point where they can actually build manufacturing. That's the point. Like, it may hurt a little in the short term, but we got to bring manufacturing back here, or it just isn't sustainable. The long-term destructive nature of the trade imbalance and what's going on and the debt that we incur to these other nations is a big deal. And eventually it tips, and the scale tips, and then everything collapses, and then the last thing you're going to worry about is your miniatures from China, right? So let's get into this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you guys for joining us. This is my Fandom Pulse Substack, and like I said, we're like the only people who even cover this stuff. So you go to the tabletop games tag, you see that I've got Dungeons and Dragons. I've been talking about this Steve Jackson Games. We got some bit about Trench Crusade and Warhammer 40K. I try to cover this as much as possible. And no other news site does. We cover comics, we cover movies, video games, and we're paying attention to what these corporations are doing and the evils that are going on here. Now, Phantom Pulse is an endeavor that we're working on full time. Myself and John Trent, one of the best journalists out there, and we need your support. So please sign up in the description below. Grab a paid membership; it really helps. John Trent, we're trying to get this going full time. There's no ads on here, so we don't have to account to anybody. We don't have access with any of these companies. I actually just had a problem. I was trying to get a couple board game designer interviews and the like, and these people are such woke crazies that they won't even just talk about their board games and sell it, because they don't want you, is what it comes down to. They don't want a conservative playing their game, which is stupid, because the board gaming groups are very conservative in nature. It's a pretty conservative hobby overall. So they're really cutting off their nose to spite their face in a lot of spots, and this is exactly what Gloomhaven's doing with Donald Trump. So get on here, guys. I'll put this in the description below. There's an unpaid option if you want to sign up, just so I don't lose you. It's very important to just be on there too. But if you do want to sign up, it's only $5 a month, and I appreciate everybody who does sign up. It means a lot, and we're about a third to our total goal to make this sustainable over on Substack, and just we'll have once we get there, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for what the future holds and the influence that we're going to wield for the culture and to actually make changes here. It's a big deal, and thank you guys for the ones who do subscribe. You're awesome, and we really appreciate you. Okay, so Dwight Senek has put the board game industry and his fellow peers on blast because of their use of Chinese labor. And this is exactly what it is. It's Chinese slave labor. We covered this the other day. Eric Lang went out there and was whining about it, and Robert Burke from Burke Games went out there and said maybe you could just stop using Chinese slave labor. and Eric Lang lost it. Started ranting about being black, of course, because it's all identity to these people. They don't care about anybody else. It's never been about equality or justice or anything. It's just about more, for them. It's about clout for them. And that's exactly why people like the Gloomhaven designers use the he, him pronoun on their little bios. So this guy actually went on CNN. This Price Johnson is over on CNN, California. There we go. He said, I was asked to share our story live on CNN this morning. Well, I mean, too bad nobody watched that because it's CNN. U.S. tariffs are threatening entire industries, including ours, toys and games. Yeah, maybe we should pare that kind of thing back now that we're thinking about it. Trump Republican tariffs are the epitome of a poor plan executed poorly. No, it's not. It's just you got to rip off the Band-Aid to make the real changes, and you're just too short-sighted to care about it because you're a little woke activist, and now you're feeling your profits kind of get hit, and so you're bitching about it. That's all it is, because these guys at the top, and I've talked with some other board game designers and the like, they say these people at the top of these big companies like this are just raking in cash. They barely pay their employees. A lot of their play testers and all that are on volunteer basis. The entire industry is a big pyramid scam, and the people at the top are just totally milking it all the way around. And this is one of those examples. So he says, if your goal is to make American lives better, easier, less inflation, probably works real well if your investor knows which country is next in line to have tariffs graciously paused. Yes, well, China is not going to be it because there's a big fight going on here, and there's more to it. I mean, really, at the end of the day, the U.S. needs to bring in semiconductor manufacturing, which is a whole nother topic, but it does tie into all of this. Now, Price Johnson, just because it's just impacting his little Gloomhaven bottom line, is not seeing the big picture in all of this, and none of these people can see the big picture in all this because they're all just too retarded to do so. It's all about me, narcissism, right? And that's exactly what's going on here. It's akin to turning it on and off again to just see what will happen. If driving up costs to 145% wouldn't be obviously cause consumer pain, economic depression, inflation, the road to domestic manufacturing is a long and expensive one. Yeah, you got to do it. Not something achieved overnight with tariffs on U.S. business. Well, it starts the conversation because if he didn't do this, Price Johnson, you wouldn't even attempt to do it in the United States. We're not talking about standing up for a single factory per industry of trade. We require dozens of manufacturing options per industry of trade to stay competitive, innovative, achieve prices, volumes that wholesale buyers, distribution, mass market, brick and mortar can carry and get their margin on. And that seems to be the deal because it's silly that board game companies are even looking at distribution mass market at this juncture because these guys are making so much money on their crowd funds. What's happening? Because when they do this, let's go to Gloomhaven and Ground Festival. So they talk about distribution. You just made $5 million off of one game. Okay, $5 million divided by 34,000 backers. So that's $5 million and divided by 34,000. So you've extracted about $150 per backer, okay? A distribution and all this. This went directly to you. There's no distribution and middleman and all this. This is total garbage. And you're mad that now your profit here, by the way, because these games probably cost like $30 to produce. So your profit's like probably $120 per backer, right? Is now cut to $90 per backer. And then you go out and manufacture this stuff and send it to Target afterwards, to get some extra residual residue for something that's already developed, already paid for, and already done and all that because you crowdfunded it. So this is complete bullshit from this guy complaining like this. And the thing is, they're just raking in profits for themselves, and that's the whole deal. They don't care about America or what's best for America long term or building American manufacturing. In fact, they don't want to. They want to keep it just like this and have their Chinese slave labor for the rest of their lives. That's what it comes down to. But at some point, that trade imbalance with China causes a massive problem, And you're not thinking about down the line what that's going to do to other people, right? And how just destructive that's going to be. And it's been destructive. You got to rip this off before that problem hits that point. And we're getting very, very close to that point at this level. So Dwight went in and he said, okay, $1.2 million in product, but he doesn't have margin for 145% markup on his production costs. Tariffs aren't the problem. His business model is. And that's it, right? The business model is 100% the problem here. Now, Dwight talked to us as well. And he's the creator of this High Noon game. And this is a real small businessman. He raised $54,000, 280 backers, right? And so this is somebody, like, by the way, with High Noon, he goes out to conventions. He sells it by hand. This is like a true small business. And this is what he says about his production here. He says, we built our company on a foundation of discipline, accountability, transparency, principles I laid out in my book, Game Changer. So when unexpected challenges like tariffs hit the industry, our customers don't feel the ripple effects. Thanks to our direct-to-consumer model and lean infrastructure, we've been able to absorb these impacts without raising prices or compromising on quality. Simply put, the tariffs won't affect our customers because we planned for storms like this for day one. Now, clearly, they're not planning for this in their sort of crowd funds where they're raking in $5 million before they even go to these like sort of distribution methods like this. Absolutely crazy on that level. And, it's hard to feel bad for them when they are absolutely exploitive as a business, and they've been like this for a long time. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Sign up for my Phantom Pulse Substack, guys. So important. Like I said, we're doing the news without advertising. This is a spot where there's no algorithm or anything like that. Like you just see what I post, which is nice because YouTube causes problems a lot of the time. And then I lose some of you, and I don't want that to happen. Like, so we've got this. We've got so many stories per day. I can't even cover them all on here. We work very, very hard for you. So get on here in the description. I'm also going to put High Noon in the description. This is a pretty good game. I really enjoyed it. I've played it a bunch, and you can get your starter set here and support some good small indie devs who are fighting against these woke idiots who are trying to destroy board gaming with their own efforts. All right. Thank you guys for being here. We'll be back soon.